Hey everyone, welcome back to Love English Lab, the place where you practice real English through real conversations so you can feel confident in real life. I'm Alex, and I'm really happy you're here with us again today.
And I'm David. If you joined us for our first episode on small talk, you already know how powerful those little conversations can be. If you're new here, don't worry. You're arriving at the next level lesson.
In the first episode, we focused on the basics: how to start a conversation, how to keep it going, how to end it politely, and how small talk sounds at work, at parties, and in everyday situations.
Right. We talked about simple openers, follow-up questions, friendly reactions, and short real-life dialogues. That was your Small Talk 101, your basic introduction to small talk.
Today, we're going a step further. Think of this as Small Talk 2.0. How to use small talk like confident, advanced speakers do.
Exactly. We're not just repeating the same phrases. In this episode, we'll look at what comes after you know the basics: how to read the situation, how to avoid common mistakes, and how to make your small talk feel more mature, more natural, and more real.
We'll talk about how to adjust your small talk in different environments, like online meetings, networking events, and more formal situations, where the wrong comment can feel a little awkward.
We'll also look at how to move slowly from light topics to something a little more meaningful, without sounding too personal or too intense. That's a skill many learners never learn, but it makes a huge difference.
And we'll talk about how to use small talk to encourage people with honest compliments and positive feedback, without sounding fake or exaggerated.
Plus, we'll work on one of the most advanced parts of communication: how to disagree politely or say no gently without killing the conversation or making it uncomfortable.
Because in real life, you won't agree with everyone. But if you know how to handle those moments kindly, people will see you as confident and respectful, not cold or rude.
We'll also show you some rescue phrases for those moments when the conversation feels strange, like when someone gives very short answers, changes the topic suddenly, or brings up something too personal.
So in this episode, you're going to learn not just what to say, but how to manage the whole moment: the timing, the tone, the level of detail, and the other person's reactions.
By the end, you'll have more than basic small talk. You'll have next level skills that help you sound calm, friendly, and emotionally intelligent in English.
So if you already know how to start simple conversations,
But you want to avoid common mistakes.
if you want to feel comfortable in online meetings, networking events, or more formal situations,
And if you want your English to feel more natural, not just correct,
this episode is for you.
let's get started with part 1: how to read the room and choose the right kind of small talk for the moment.
So David, in the first episode, we showed our listeners how to do small talk. But now we need to talk about when and how much. And that starts with reading the room.
Exactly. Reading the room means noticing where you are, who you're talking to, and what kind of small talk fits that moment. Because the way you talk at a casual barbecue is not the same as the way you talk before a serious meeting.
Right. A lot of learners memorize good phrases, but they use them in the wrong context. For example, being too friendly in a very formal situation, or being too serious in a relaxed social one.
Let's break it into 3 main environments: casual, semi-formal, and formal. And we'll see how small talk changes in each one.
Perfect. Let's start with casual. This is when you're with friends, classmates, or people your own age in a relaxed place. A cafe, a party, a break at school.
In casual situations, you can be more open, more playful, and a bit more personal. It's okay to talk about weekend plans, hobbies, funny stories, or how you're really feeling.
Exactly. You can say things like, "I'm so tired today, I watched a show until 2 a.m." Or, "I'm obsessed with this new game or series or song."
And your tone can be more expressive. You can laugh, exaggerate a little, and use more informal words like kind of, super, pretty good.
But even in casual situations, there's a line, right? You still avoid very private topics too early, like money, health problems, or very strong opinions.
Yes, exactly. Casual doesn't mean no limits, it just means more relaxed.
Now let's move to the semi-formal environment. This is very common for learners. Office breaks, conferences, university events, or meeting your boss, but not in a big formal meeting.
Right. Here you want to sound friendly, but also professional. You can still use small talk, but the topics and tone are a little more careful.
So what kind of small talk works well in semi-formal situations?
Things like, how's your week going so far? Busy day? Are you working on something interesting at the moment? These are friendly, but still connected to work or study.
And notice they aren't too personal. You're not asking about their family or love life. You're staying in a safe middle zone.
Exactly. You can also use light small talk about neutral topics. The schedule looks pretty full today. This building is really nice, isn't it? I like this meeting room. The view is great.
And the tone here is important. You're still warm, but a bit calmer. Not too loud, not too emotional.
Yes, you're showing respect. You're saying, I'm friendly, but I also understand that this is a professional space.
Now the last one, formal environments. This can be a job interview, a first meeting with an important client, a serious presentation, or a big company event.
In formal situations, small talk is usually shorter and more careful. You still use it, but it's like a quick warm up, not a long conversation.
So, for example, before a formal meeting starts, you might say, "Thank you for taking the time to meet today." Or, "It's great to finally meet you in person."
Or simple comments like, did you find the office okay? Have you been to this building before?
These don't feel like deep small talk, but they help people relax and create a polite, professional atmosphere.
And here, your tone and body language are more controlled. You smile, but not too big. You speak clearly, not too fast, and you avoid slang or very casual expressions.
So, to summarize, casual, relaxed, playful, more personal, but still respectful. Semi-formal, friendly and warm, but connected to work or study, not too personal. Formal, short, polite, professional warm-up.
Exactly. And one advanced skill is switching between these styles during the same day.
Oh, that's so true. For example, in the morning you're joking with your close coworker in the kitchen. That's casual. Then you walk into a meeting with the director. Now it's more formal. After the meeting, you talk briefly with someone from another department. That's semi-formal.
And if you use the wrong style, it can feel strange. Imagine using very casual small talk with a director you don't know well. So, what's up? Crazy weekend or what?
That would feel a bit too much.
Exactly. Not wrong, but a little risky.
So how can learners read the room in real time?
Great question. Let's give a few simple tips.
Tip 1. Watch the other person's energy. If they are very serious and quiet, you start more formal. If they smile easily and speak in a relaxed way, you can slowly move to semi-formal or casual.
Tip 2. Notice the place and moment. Before or after a meeting, in a hallway or a formal office, at a work dinner or at someone's house, the place tells you how open you can be.
Tip 3. Start neutral, then adjust. Begin with something safe. How's your morning going? Then, if you feel the other person relax, you can move to something a bit more personal or playful.
Exactly. It's like testing the water with your foot before jumping into the pool.
I like that image. And remember, if you're not sure, it's always better to start a little more polite and then relax slowly.
Yes, it's easier to move from formal to casual than to go the other way.
So for our listeners, your homework for this part is simple. Next time you're in a social situation, try to ask yourself, is this casual, semi-formal, or formal? Then choose your small talk style to match it.
Once you start doing that, your small talk will feel much more natural and appropriate. People will think, wow, this person understands the situation.
And that's a big part of sounding truly fluent, not just in language, but in social skills.
In the next part, we'll go one step further and talk about common small talk mistakes and what to say instead so you don't accidentally make people uncomfortable.
That's where it gets really practical.
Let's jump into that next.
So, David, now that we understand how to read the room, I think we need to talk about something very important. Small talk mistakes.
Yes, because even if your English is good, a few small mistakes can make the conversation feel strange, heavy, or uncomfortable.
And the good news is that most people make the same mistakes. So once you know them, you can avoid them and sound much more confident.
Let's go through some of the most common ones and give better versions that learners can use instead.
Perfect. Mistake number 1, turning small talk into an interview.
Oh yes, this happens a lot. Learners ask question after question after question. Where are you from? What do you do? Are you married? Do you have kids?
And the other person feels like they're filling out a form, not having a conversation.
Right. Questions are good, but too many in a row with no reaction or comment feel heavy.
So what should they do instead?
Use this simple rule: ask, then react, then share. For example, what do you do? I'm a designer. Oh, nice. I've always liked design. I can't draw at all. Then you can ask a follow-up like, what kind of projects do you work on?
That feels much softer. It's more like a dance and less like an interrogation.
Exactly. So remember, question arrow, reaction, arrow, small comment, arrow, maybe another question.
Great. Mistake number 2, getting too personal too fast.
Yes. In some cultures, it's normal to ask deep questions quickly. But in English-speaking cultures, especially with new people, that can feel uncomfortable.
For example, asking, "Why aren't you married?" Or, "How much do you earn?" Or, "Do you want kids?" is usually too personal for small talk.
A better approach is to stay in the light zone first. Instead of, do you want kids? You can say, do you have any brothers or sisters? Instead of, how much do you earn? You can ask, what kind of work do you do?
Same with health. Asking, "What's wrong with you?" can sound very strong. A softer version would be, "Are you feeling okay?" Or, "Hope you're doing all right."
And if you're not sure if a topic is too personal, wait until you know the person better. Small talk is not for big private questions.
That's a really good rule.
Mistake number 3, complaining too much.
The classic, starting every conversation with negative energy. The traffic is horrible, my boss is terrible, everything is awful.
Exactly. A little bit of complaining is normal. People love to say, the traffic was bad today, or I'm tired. But if everything is negative, the other person feels drained.
So what's a better way?
You can still mention something negative, but keep it short and add a softer or more positive line. For example, yeah, traffic was pretty bad this morning, but at least I made it on time. Or, I'm a bit tired today, I stayed up late, but coffee's helping.
That feels more balanced. You're honest, but not heavy.
Right. Think negative plus small positive, not negative plus more negative.
Mistake number 4, talking too much about yourself.
Yes, some learners feel nervous and start talking nonstop just to avoid silence, but that also kills the conversation.
If you talk for a long time without giving the other person space, they feel like an audience, not a partner.
A simple trick is to finish your story with a question. For example, I watched a really good movie last weekend. It was a comedy about a family road trip. I loved it. Have you seen any good movies recently?
That small question at the end opens the door for them.
Exactly. Another trick is to notice your own speaking time. If you've been talking for a while, just stop and say, but enough about me. What about you?
That line is so useful. It shows self-awareness and respect.
Mistake number 5, being too direct or too honest in small talk.
This one is tricky because honesty is good, but in small talk, people usually prefer softer opinions.
Right. For example, saying, that shirt looks bad on you is honest, but not kind.
A better choice might be to say nothing or focus on something you do like. Or, if you really need to say something, use very soft language, like, "I usually prefer darker colors on you."
Same with opinions. You can say, I'm not sure I agree, or I see it differently.
Those phrases let you keep your opinion and the relationship.
Exactly. Small talk isn't the place for strong attacks. It's more about gentle, respectful language.
Mistake number 6, ignoring signals that the other person wants to stop talking.
Yes, sometimes the person gives very short answers, doesn't ask any questions back, or looks at their phone or watch. That usually means they're busy, tired, or not in the mood.
And many learners think, oh no, I need to talk more, and they push harder. But that makes it worse.
A better move is to recognize the signal and end the conversation politely. For example, well, I don't want to keep you, but it was nice talking. Or, I should let you go, thanks for the chat.
That sounds polite and emotionally intelligent.
Yes, you're showing that you respect their time and energy.
So let's quickly recap the big mistakes and fixes.
1. Don't interview people. Ask, react, and share instead. 2. Don't go too personal too fast. Stay in the light zone first. 3. Don't complain nonstop. Balance negative with a small positive. 4. Don't talk only about yourself. Finish with a question. 5. Don't be too direct or harsh. Use softer language. 6. Don't ignore signals. Learn to end conversations kindly.
If our listeners just fix these things, their small talk will feel much more natural and comfortable for everyone.
And that's already advanced communication.
In the next part, we'll look at something more specific. How to use small talk in online meetings and professional settings, where the rules are a little different from face-to-face.
Yes, because Zoom Small Talk has its own style.
Let's talk about that next. So David, we've talked about reading the room and common mistakes. Now let's move into a big part of modern life, small talk in online and professional settings.
Yes, because these days a lot of our conversations happen on Zoom, Teams, or Google Meet, and the small talk there feels a little different from face to face.
Exactly. The timing is different, the sound is different, and you have screens, microphones, cameras. All of that changes the way we warm up a conversation.
Let's start with online meetings. Like Zoom, there are usually 3 moments where small talk appears: before the meeting starts, at the very beginning, and at the end.
Let's take the first one. Before the meeting starts, when only 2 or 3 people are in the call.
Right, that's a perfect chance for light small talk. Nothing long because more people might join at any second, but something short and friendly.
What are some natural lines people can use?
You can say things like, hey Alex, good to see you. How's your day going so far? Or, hi, where are you joining from today? And if cameras are on, you can say, nice background, I like that picture behind you.
I like those. They're friendly but simple. And where are you joining from is great for international teams.
Exactly. You can follow with something like, oh nice, I've always wanted to visit there. Or, cool, I heard the weather's great this time of year.
Now, what about technical small talk? Because in online meetings, there's always some kind of tech issue.
So true, and talking about it is actually a common part of Zoom small talk. Phrases like, can you hear me okay? I think you're on mute. There's a bit of an echo, let me fix my mic. They're not deep, but they're part of the social routine.
Yes, and you can add a light comment to keep it friendly. Can you hear me okay? My internet has been a little dramatic today. That makes people smile without wasting time.
Exactly. Now, at the very beginning of the meeting, when the host starts, you often hear small talk like, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you're all doing well today. Did everyone have a good weekend?
And if you're not the host, but someone asks you a small talk question, keep your answer short and positive. Something like, yeah, it was nice, thanks. How about you? No need to tell your whole weekend story.
Right. In professional settings, small talk is usually shorter and more focused. It's a quick warm-up, not a long conversation.
What about ending an online meeting politely with a bit of small talk?
Good question. At the end, people often say, great, thanks everyone for your time. That was really helpful, thank you. It was nice seeing you all. And if it's a smaller meeting, you might add, let's catch up again soon, or have a great rest of your day.
And if one person helped you specifically, you can say, "Thanks again for your support with this," or "I really appreciate your input today."
That sounds professional and warm at the same time.
Okay, let's move from online meetings to professional networking, like conferences or events where you meet people from your field.
Yes, this is where many learners feel nervous because they think they must impress everyone.
But actually, networking small talk is just small talk with a purpose. You're trying to create a connection, not give a perfect speech.
Exactly. A classic opener is, "So, what brought you to this event?" Or, "Have you been to this conference before?"
Those questions are great because they're neutral and open. People can share as much or as little as they want.
Another good one is, "Which sessions have you gone to so far?" Or, "Are you enjoying the event?"
And after they answer, remember our rule. Ask, react, share. They say, "Yeah, I really liked the last talk on AI." You can respond, "Nice, I missed that one. I went to the marketing one. It was pretty interesting."
Exactly. This way, you're not just collecting information, you're connecting.
Now, a lot of networking continues on LinkedIn or by email. How does small talk look there?
Great point. In email, small talk is usually just one or two sentences at the beginning, nothing long.
For example, you might write, "Hi, Sarah. Hope you're doing well." Or, "Hi, David. It was great meeting you at the conference yesterday."
Yes, or, "Hi, Alex. Thanks again for your time in the call earlier today."
Then you move to the main purpose of the email. You don't need a full paragraph of small talk.
Exactly. Email small talk is more about polite framing than about conversation. You show respect and warmth, then you get to the point.
What about closing an email? That's also a kind of small talk.
Definitely. Common endings are best regards, kind regards, all the best. Have a great day. Then your name.
And if you know the person better, you can be a bit warmer. "Thanks again for your help." Or, "Looking forward to hearing from you."
Yes, that shows friendliness without being too casual.
Let's talk about one more professional situation. Talking to your boss or a senior person.
Good idea. Many learners are afraid of making small talk with a manager or director, but it's completely normal.
The key is to stay polite, short, and positive. For example, "Good morning. How's your week going so far?" Or, "I liked your point in the meeting yesterday."
Those lines show respect and attention, and if your boss wants to continue the conversation, they will. If not, they'll usually answer briefly and move on, and that's okay.
Another safe topic is work itself. "How is the new project going?" Or, "Has it been a busy week for you?"
Just remember, with senior people, it's usually better to be slightly more formal and not too personal, unless they open that door first.
So, to summarize this part,
In online meetings, small talk is short and often around tech. Can you hear me okay? Location? Where are you joining from? Light mood. Hope you're all doing well today.
in networking and conferences, good openers are, "What brought you to this event?" "Have you been here before?" "Which sessions have you enjoyed so far?"
In email, small talk is one or two lines. "It was great meeting you. Thanks again for your time." Then a polite closing.
And with bosses or senior people, keep it short, respectful, and positive. "Good morning. How's your week going? I appreciated your comment in the meeting."
If our listeners practice just these patterns, their professional small talk will feel smoother and more confident.
And that's a big step towards sounding truly comfortable in English at work.
In the next part, we're going to talk about something that makes small talk feel warmer and more human. How to use compliment and encouragement in a natural, adult way.
Not fake, not exaggerated, just real and kind.
Let's get into that next.
So, David, we've already talked about reading the room, avoiding mistakes, and using small talk in professional situations. Now I think it's time to talk about something that makes conversations feel really warm: compliments and encouragement.
Absolutely. When you use them well, people feel seen and appreciated. When you use them badly, they can sound fake or too personal. So this is definitely next level.
Let's start with a simple idea. A good compliment is usually small, specific, and sincere.
I like that. Small means you're not exaggerating. You're not saying you're the most amazing person I've ever met in the first 5 minutes.
Exactly. Specific means you're not too general. Instead of, "You're great," you say something like, "I really liked how you explained that idea in the meeting."
And sincere means you actually mean it. You're not giving compliments just to get something.
Right. People can feel the difference.
Let's give some examples in different situations. How about at work?
At work, you can compliment effort, clarity, organization, or teamwork. For example, "I liked the way you organized that presentation. You explained that point really clearly. I appreciate how quickly you answered that email."
Those feel professional and respectful. They don't cross any lines.
Exactly. They don't focus on someone's body or personal life. They focus on their work and behavior.
What about more casual situations with friends or classmates?
There you can be a bit more relaxed. You might say, "I love your sense of humor. That playlist you chose is really good. You always have the best food ideas."
These are still small and kind, but more personal, and they fit a casual environment.
Another place where compliments are powerful is when someone feels nervous or unsure.
Yes, that's where encouragement comes in. It's like a compliment, but focused on their progress or courage.
For example, if someone is speaking English and making mistakes, you can say, "Hey, you're doing really well. I can understand you clearly." Or, "You're improving a lot. Your confidence is growing."
Those are great because they don't pretend the person is perfect, but they highlight progress.
Exactly. Encouragement is a way of saying, "I see your effort, and it matters."
Now, a big question learners have is, how do I respond when someone compliments me?
Yes. Many people feel uncomfortable, and they start rejecting the compliment. "No, no, it's nothing. It's not good. I got lucky."
But in English, the most natural thing is actually very simple. Say thank you and maybe add one short sentence.
For example, "Thank you. That means a lot." "Thanks. I appreciate that." "Thanks. I worked hard on it."
Those answers sound confident and grateful, not arrogant.
And you don't need to give a long story about why you don't deserve the compliment. Just accept it kindly.
Exactly. Now, what about returning a compliment? Is it good to say something nice back immediately?
It can be, as long as it's honest and not automatic. For example, "Thank you. I really liked your presentation too." That's fine if you actually mean it.
But if you don't really have something to compliment, it's okay to just say thank you and stop there.
Right. You don't have to create a compliment just to be polite.
Let's talk about soft boundaries with compliments, especially for learners.
Good idea. In many English-speaking environments, people are more careful about comments on physical appearance, especially with new people or in professional contexts.
So instead of saying, you look so sexy in that dress, which feels too strong, you can say something like, that color really suits you, or that's a nice jacket.
That keeps it friendly and respectful. Also at work, it's often safer to compliment things like ideas, effort, organization, or communication.
Exactly. For example, I liked how you handled that difficult question. I really appreciate your help with this project.
Another thing we should mention is tone. Even a good compliment can sound strange if the tone is too intense.
True, saying you are amazing in a very dramatic voice to someone you just met can feel fake or uncomfortable.
A calm, warm tone works better. "Hey, you did a really good job with that," said in a relaxed voice and maybe with a small smile.
Let's give our listeners a simple compliment formula they can use.
Sure, here it is. Notice. Name it. Add a small detail. For example, "I noticed you stayed late to finish that report. That was really dedicated." Or, I noticed how patient you were with that customer. That kind of calm really helps.
That's perfect. You show that you saw something, you say what it is, and you add a little positive detail.
And here's a similar formula for encouragement. See the effort. Acknowledge it. Point to the future. For example, I can see you're working hard on your English. It really shows. Keep going. You're on the right track.
Or, you handled that meeting in English really well. Next time will feel even easier.
Those lines are powerful because they give people energy to continue.
And that's one of the best uses of small talk. Not just filling silence, but giving people a little emotional boost.
Exactly. It turns a simple moment into something meaningful without becoming heavy or dramatic.
So, quick recap for this part.
1. Good compliments are small, specific, and sincere. 2. At work, focus on effort, clarity, and behavior, not physical appearance. 3. To respond to compliments, say thank you, and maybe add one short sentence. 4. Encouragement is like a compliment on progress and courage. 5. Tone matters. Keep it warm, not exaggerated.
If our listeners practice just a few of these lines, their small talk will feel kinder and more mature.
And people will enjoy talking to them, which is exactly what we want.
In the next part, we're going to talk about one of the most advanced skills in small talk: how to disagree politely or say no without making things awkward.
Because real connection doesn't mean you agree with everything.
Exactly. Let's dive into that next.
So, David, we've talked about reading the room, avoiding mistakes, using small talk in professional situations, and giving encouragement. Now we need to talk about a big one: how to disagree or say no without making things weird.
Yes, this is a real advanced level skill. In real life, you won't always agree with people, but if you disagree in a soft way, the conversation can stay friendly.
A lot of learners only know strong sentences like, "You're wrong," or "That's not true." And those sound too direct in English, especially in small talk.
Right. In English, people usually soften disagreement. They still say what they think, but they add small words and phrases that make it gentle.
Let's start with some common soft disagreement phrases.
Sure, here are a few. I see what you mean, but I get your point, though I see it a bit differently. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. For me, I'm not sure I completely agree.
These are great because they show respect first, then your opinion.
Exactly. You're saying I hear you before you say I think something else.
Let's show a short example. I'll be person A, you be person B.
Okay,
I think working from home is always better than working from the office.
I see what you mean, but I actually like going to the office a few days a week. It helps me focus.
That feels calm and respectful. You didn't attack my opinion, you just added yours.
Right. Now, sometimes you want to disagree, but keep it very light. Then you can use phrases like, maybe, but I'm not totally convinced. I'm not sure about that. I kind of feel the opposite.
Those are nice because they sound honest but not aggressive.
Now let's talk about disagreeing about small things, like taste in movies or food. These are perfect for practice.
For example, I say, "That movie was terrible." You might answer,
Really? I actually enjoyed it. I like the ending.
simple and soft. Or I say, "Pineapple on pizza is the worst idea ever." And you say,
I get why people say that, but I love it.
"That's a fun one." You're disagreeing, but in a playful way.
Exactly. Small talk is a great place to practice gentle disagreement about safe topics like movies, food, music, or sports.
Now, what about saying no to invitations or suggestions? That's another place where people feel uncomfortable.
Yes, especially if they don't want to sound rude. The key is usually no plus a softener plus a short reason plus maybe gratitude.
Let's build a few examples. Suppose someone says, "Do you want to grab a drink after work?"
You could say, I'd love to, but I have plans tonight. Maybe another time? Or, thanks for the invite, but I need to head home early today.
Those sound friendly and clear. You're not leaving them confused.
Right, you can also use, I really appreciate it, but I can't this time. I'm going to pass tonight, but thanks for thinking of me.
I like I'm going to pass. That's a very natural expression.
Yes, it's soft but clear.
How about when someone suggests something you don't want to do, like going to a noisy place?
You could say, I'm not a big fan of loud bars to be honest. Maybe we could try a quieter place. So you're saying no to the idea, but you're offering an alternative.
That's a great strategy. Soft, no plus alternative. It keeps the connection.
Exactly. Now, what about situations at work when you can't help someone or you're too busy?
That's a big one. You can say something like, I'd really like to help, but I'm at full capacity today. Or, I don't think I can give this the time it needs right now.
And you can add, maybe we can look at it tomorrow. Or maybe name is the best person to ask about this.
Again, soft, no plus, small explanation, plus maybe another option.
Yes, that sounds professional and polite.
Let's also talk about stepping away from a topic you don't want to discuss.
Great point. Sometimes people bring up topics like politics, religion, or very personal questions in small talk, and you don't want to go there.
You can use neutral, gentle phrases like, that's a big topic. I'm not sure I want to get into it right now. Or, I don't really talk about politics much, to be honest.
You can also move the conversation gently. Anyway, I'm curious. How's work going for you these days? So you close the door and open another one.
That's a very useful skill. You're protecting your boundaries without creating a conflict.
Exactly. And people usually respect that if you say it calmly.
Let's give our listeners a few ready-to-use mini-scripts.
Sure, here are some for polite disagreement. I see what you mean, but I had a different experience. That makes sense. For me, it's a little different because that's one way to look at it. I guess I see it another way.
And here are some for saying no. Thanks for the invite, but I can't this time. I'd love to, but I already have plans. I really appreciate it, but I'm going to pass tonight.
And for leaving a topic, that's a bit personal for me, to be honest. I'm not sure I'm the best person to talk about that. Let's talk about something lighter. How's your week going?
If our listeners practice these lines, they'll be able to protect their time, their energy, and their opinions without sounding cold or rude.
And that's a big part of emotional intelligence in English.
Small talk doesn't mean you agree with everything or say yes to everything. It means you communicate with kindness, even when your answer is no.
Exactly. And once you can disagree and say no politely, you feel much more relaxed in any conversation.
In our final reflection, we'll bring everything together and show how these next-level small talk skills can change the way you feel in English.
Let's wrap it all up.
You know, David, when we started this episode, we said it would be Small Talk 2.0, and I really feel like that's what we've done.
I agree. In the first episode, we focused on the basics, how to start, keep, and end small talk in everyday situations. In this one, we went deeper into how small talk works in real life with real people and real limits.
Exactly. We didn't just teach new phrases, we talked about judgment, how to read the room, how to choose the right style, and how to know when to talk more or talk less.
Yes, reading the room is like having a social map. Once you can tell if the situation is casual, semi-formal, or formal, your small talk becomes much more natural and appropriate.
And we also showed that small talk isn't always harmless if we're careless. We looked at common mistakes: asking too many questions, going too personal too fast, complaining too much, talking only about yourself, or ignoring signals when someone wants to stop.
Right. And the good news is that these mistakes are easy to fix with small changes: asking, then reacting and sharing, keeping topics light at first, balancing honesty with kindness, and learning to end conversations politely.
We also spent time on online and professional small talk. Zoom calls, networking, emails, and talking with bosses or senior people.
Yes, because that's where many learners feel the most pressure. We saw that small talk there is usually short, polite, and focused, a quick warm up before work, a friendly line in an email, a respectful comment to a manager.
Then we moved into something I really love, using small talk to encourage people.
Absolutely. Compliments and encouragement are powerful when they're small, specific, and sincere. When you notice someone's effort or progress and say it out loud, you give them energy.
And we showed that accepting compliments is a skill too. A simple thank you, I appreciate it, can sound strong, confident, and kind at the same time.
And finally, we talked about what many learners find the hardest: polite disagreement and saying no.
Yes, because real connection doesn't mean you always agree or always say yes. It means you can be honest and respectful at the same time.
With soft phrases like, I see what you mean, but I'm not sure I completely agree, or thanks for the invite, but I can't this time, you protect your boundaries without breaking the relationship.
And that's the heart of advanced small talk. You're not just filling silence, you're managing energy, respect, and connection.
Exactly. Small talk becomes less about which phrase do I use and more about how do I make this moment comfortable for both of us.
So, to everyone listening, if you watched the first episode and now this one, you've come a long way. You know how to start, keep, and end conversations. And now you also know how to adjust your style, avoid common mistakes, encourage others, and disagree politely.
The next step is simple. Practice a little every day. Try one new line in your next Zoom call. Give one small compliment this week, or use one soft disagreement phrase when you don't agree.
Tiny experiments, one conversation at a time.
And remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, curious, and kind.
Exactly. That's what makes you sound truly fluent, not just in English, but in human connection.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We hope these Small Talk 2.0 skills help you feel more relaxed and confident in every conversation.
And we can't wait to keep practicing with you in our next episode.
See you next time on Love English Lab.
And until then, keep the conversation going.